Hidoki. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello there. Here we are with Grant Kaimana Kono, and we just want to say hi. How are you doing, Grant?
How's it, Uncle Steve? We're doing super good. Super good. Thanks for having me. Size matters.
Well, hey, you've been blowing up and doing some great things, and it's a lot of people's dreams to be nominated for one Hoku Award. You're up for five. What's that
Yep.
like?
Honestly, like growing up in California and then moving to Hawaii in 10th grade, it's pretty insane because I mean, not that the Hokus were ever a goal from the inception of me like wanting to play music, but just to even be nominated among some of these guys, like it's honestly, it's really humbling because I mean, up for Group of the Year, we're up against Ekolu, who's been around for 20 plus years. We're up against the Green, who's been up. I mean, me and Devin went to a birthday party, a 16th birthday party, and the Green was playing back like when they first came out, and now we're nominated up against them for Group of the Year for the Hokus. Like, it's crazy, honestly. It's crazy to me, but it's really cool, and I mean, it's definitely been hard work, but nonetheless.
So again, what are the five categories you guys are up for?
The five categories for us for A&A is Group of the Year, Most Promising Artist, um, Hawaiian Language Award, Hawaiian Music Album of the Year, and liner notes. Because we write pretty decent, I guess, for not really being writers, but
Well, there you go, and thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Cheeseman of Hawaiian Mission Academy.
yes, mahalo HMA, mahalo to the few English classes I passed at UH Manoa. Is a great time.
Another interesting thing is you guys you grew up in California,
Yeah,
but you're from Hawaii.
yeah. My parents, both of my parents are from Hawaii. My mom grew up like in town up on Manalani Heights. My dad grew up in Makiki, and then they moved away for college. They got married. They moved away for college. They got married. They stayed there for 15 years. Had me and my brother and my sister, and then got lucky enough to move back. But growing up in California, I feel like it gave me like this deeper respect or desire for Hawaiian music, just because it felt like something so far away. It felt equivalent to me for someone like, I don't know, like AC/DC or the Beatles or all these bands that they weren't in Loma Linda, California, where I was at. That's the same thing I felt with Hawaiian music. So for for me to be able to grow up there and just love Hawaiian music as much as I have for as long as I have, and then to be able to move back to Hawaii and play music amongst the people that I looked up to from when I was a little kid. I mean, it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal.
So I know your dad sings and plays guitar and ukulele. Did he kind of influence you? Or was that when you're
Oh,
growing up with the Hawaiian
100%. I
stuff?
mean, me and my dad was really who exposed me to Hawaiian music. Like from a young age, I remember just riding in the car, and I mean, you know what I mean. As a kid, you don't have any say as to what music is playing in the car. You kind of just are riding along with your parents, and it's it's just what's playing. And for me, that happened to be Hawaiian music the majority of the time. Except for, my dad would listen to Rapper's Delight from the Sugar Hill Gang, and now I can do that as like a party trick for karaoke. But the Hawaiian music that was playing in the car was because of my dad. And I mean, he took ukulele from second grade, and he just really never stopped playing. And then when I came along, I think I was in fourth going into fifth grade, and I told my dad I don't want to take piano lessons anymore. Like, I don't want to. He goes, you got to play another instrument. I was like, okay. He goes, you got to practice every day. I said, okay. And then it was ukulele. And
Why is that?
then,
Because pure strings and guitar.
yep. And then it was guitar. And then it was guitar like a few years later. And then, you know, I was given an upright bass, in high school. So all of this, I mean, the entire reason that I am as passionate about Hawaiian music, as invested in Hawaiian music as I am, is definitely because of my dad.
Yeah. So what was your go-to song growing up?
Go-to song growing up. So there was a video of the Brothers Casimiro at their 25th May Day concert at the Waikiki Shell, and It was they called themselves the Grand Band Hawaiian Band, and there was about 20, 25 people on stage of like the most like prominent Hawaiian musicians, and they all did a song together called Pau Aliko Kalehua, written for Emma Bush. And that song actually, like where I went to high school at Hawaiian Mission Academy in Makiki, right on the other side in Pauoa, like literally on the other side of the mountain is Auwaiulimu Stream. And I don't know, when I went to HMA and the very first time I noticed that was because I mean, for me, long Hawaiian words are pretty cool. And then when you get to sing about something for years and years and years, and then you start to pass it every day on your commute to school, like in high school, that for me that was cool. So yeah, Pau Liko Kalehua was it. It just, I don't know, it had so many verses, and it had a melody line for me that was just like, so it really drew me in. I don't know, even now I'll still sing it, probably not as much as I used to, but that's definitely one, yeah, even today, probably one of my favorite songs.
Well, the first song we ever heard you sing, I think it was in church, and you
Yep.
get up and there's this skinny kid from California, and all of a sudden he breaks out singing Kanaka Bye Bye, and we thought, wow. Right? It's also
even at my very first day of I don't even know if it was my first day. I know it was the first week for sure. We had a chapel, and I was making trouble to my science teacher at the time, Miss Togami, who's now Miss Lewis. Anyway, I was giving her a hard time that day in class, and then we showed up to chapel, and I was singing the same song, Kanaka Vai Vai, like right there, and I looked at her after the first verse, and she started crying, and I went up to her after, and I said, Miss, like, I'm so sorry, like, what, she goes, no, I just never expected such a beautiful voice to come out of a kid like you.
kind of threw us off. It was like one of those kung fu movies where the voice doesn't align with the.
No, I've gotten that more than a few times, but I take it as a compliment, because it just goes to show you can never really judge a book by its cover.
When did you know you could sing? When did you know that you had the voice?
When I was younger, there was a lot of music happening around me, so even just trying to sing, like, I mean, for whatever reason, I could hear notes in my ear and match that note with my voice relatively easily. But even in like elementary school, I really just I didn't want to sing. I wanted to play band instruments. I wanted to just play string instruments more, and then use like my voice just to supplement those instruments. But then in fifth grade really was the defining moment for me, especially with Hawaiian music. We were living in Loma Linda in California at the time, and after your fifth grade year, you're eligible to go to Explorations, which is pretty much a Hawaiian summer camp at Kamehameha schools. And for me, coming from California and going over there and playing ukulele with all these 5-year-old kids my age, like singing Hawaiian songs with kids my age, like that was something that I never got to do in California, and I don't know, it kind of helped me to want to sing, I guess. So then even after that, like I went home back to California, and from that summer on, like I had a ukulele in my hand. I knew how to play songs. Like I don't know why it came naturally, but I mean it felt good the whole time we were doing it.
It also seems to come naturally for you is playing basketball. A lot of people don't know you're a pretty outstanding.
Basketball was my first true love. Basketball was my first love.
But you also play it passionately. You when you're in.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah. Oh, I used to get. I think I led the league in technical fouls every year in high school. I was there, starting from 10th grade. But basketball, honestly, that was also because of my dad too. Like my dad loves basketball, probably as much as I love Hawaiian music now. And when I was younger, that was the thing that he put me in from a young age. So when it came time to play competitively, even in like middle school, even into high school, like it just felt good for me to compete, to play sports against guys that are definitely better than me, that were faster, stronger, taller in every way, you know. And then we got lucky enough to beat them sometimes, and that for me that was cool because it really put me in a leadership role because my senior year there was only I think 3 seniors on the whole varsity squad, and the rest were mostly sophomores.
One of the interesting things about you too is that you have a really close relationship with your parents, very
Yep.
close with your dad, and I think your dad owes his life to you. You saved his life once.
Yeah, last year in March we were surfing at Diamond Head, and yeah, it was pretty. I mean, honestly, this is. I mean, I've saved a few other people's lives before. One of my really really good friends. It was like a really big day on the North Shore, but this was the first time I ever had to help someone where they were completely unconscious in the water. So we were surfing at Diamond Head, and I caught a wave, and I did a turn, and when I did the turn, I looked back, and I saw the wave hit my dad. He was kind of to the left of me, and I mean, when I saw him, he was laying on his back. So I mean, for me, like it's not uncommon to just lay on your back in the water if you're surfing, just kind of whatever, just got off the wave, just kind of hang out. The wave hit him, and then when the wave hit him, I saw his board go over, and then I saw him go over the falls. And initially, my thought was, "Oh man, that sucks! Like he didn't even see it coming. Like he's he's gonna get worked. Like that sucks. Like it wasn't a really big wave, but I mean, maybe like a 3 or 4 foot base. But when the wave hit him, I saw his board like just float to the top, like without any tension coming on the leash, and then I saw him float up face down, and then immediately I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Like there was actually another guy from Kailua who's actually good friends with my cousin Chris, and I mean I recognized him in the water when we were surfing, but it just so happens that he was the one guy that I knew or knew of that was in the water with me that day, and then he happened to be, I would say, perfectly in the middle between my dad and I, like distance-wise. So I was screaming at him, "Go, get over there! Like, he's not breathing! He's not moving! Like, get over there!" And he's like looking at me like, "What? Oh, you're yelling at me? Holy fuck, that guy! Oh, shoot, sorry. That guy over there is not breathing!" Like, so we get over there. Another guy paddles over, and I tell the second guy that comes over, I said, "Bro, I need to use your board. Your board is bigger. I need to put him on the board and try and start CPR." But before I was lifting on the board, I went behind him, and I just stepped right on the rocks, like right on the reef. I got all kind of vana in my foot, and then I just started like grabbing his chest from the back, just boom, boom, like pulling him as hard as I could. And then when I put him up, after I did that, and I went to go put him on the board, like he woke up, and after the fact, I mean, thank God he woke up. After the fact, and talking to my dad, he tells me, he goes, "Yeah, it's like I was just sleeping on the couch, and then you were just screaming at the top of your lungs, and then I woke up, and I was like in the ocean." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But now he's okay. Now he's good. He's back in the water surfing. He works out pretty much every day. He's good shape. And I mean, even with this album that came out, if my dad would have been taken away last year in March, he wouldn't have been able to see all of this album, all of this happen. And for me, it's really because of him that I even had the self-confidence to even want to sing. He was the guy pushing me, nudging me, like, "Yeah, no, you got it, do it, like sing it, go do it," from a really young age. So I mean, I owe so much to him. So I mean, honestly, that's the least I can do.
Are there any songs about him on the album, or is he even on the album?
No, not yet. We're but yeah, it's because of him that that I mean, I was even able to do music how I've done and be able to take it to the point that I have in my life. So it's cool to be able to give back, even if it's literally giving him his life back. I was lucky to be a help.
Well, and on the album, did you write in some of the songs, or how'd you pick what was going to be on it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, on the album, you guys can download it on Spotify, on on Apple Music, even on YouTube, Ane. Number 2, Kewaka Ui, I wrote it actually when I was at UH. My very final semester at UH, I was taking Hawaiian 384, Kahakumele Composers and Their Compositions, taught by Dr. Kumukiave Lopez. And for the final, he asked us to write a song, but I didn't really know. I don't really know how to write songs. Like, I know how to sing songs, but at that time, I really hadn't wrapped my mind around what it was to put. Because I mean, especially in Hawaiian music, it's more so ideas all put together in a way that creates it. So I had no experience really doing that. But the Kewakui literally means very, very, very beautiful. Keu is like extra or like exponential, and ui meaning beautiful. So I wrote it the semester before in Hawaiian language. Dr. Kaikina De Silva asked us to give a speech in class. Just if we were to walk outside of our front door, what would we see? What would you say? And in that speech in Hawaiian language class, I said, "Nui ka effin ui ona ko'olau," which means nui ka effin. I mean, the Ko'olau mountains are very effing beautiful. And she looked at me with like the biggest, craziest eyes, like, and I thought like she was literally gonna fly a desk at me, but she literally goes, "Keuakui," and just the way that she replied to me, for me being so disrespectful in her class, I took that, to my final that I had to write for this song, and I literally wrote it if I was sitting right outside of my house. But in every verse, it's I don't know. For me, it was all kinds of things that I heard people around me complaining about. Like, I've heard people tell me that they don't like the scent of certain flowers because the flower is too strong of a scent for them. And I'm like, for other people, that's what makes it literally the most beautiful flower ever. That's why it can be someone's favorite flower. And I mean, that's just a perspective to not like it. The second verse is talks about the rain that happens in Kailua, in Waimanalo, in Kaneohe. It travels along the mountains there called Apuakea. But I've heard people tell me, like, oh, I hate it that it's raining. Like, oh, like, I wish it would just be sunny. But then those same people complain about it being way too hot when it's sunny. And I'm like, you really just got to take the best of whatever the situation is and just choose to see the beauty in it. Like, there's so many things that we have absolutely no control over as human beings, and that's really what I tried to capture in that one song I wrote. But in the next album, hopefully this coming year, we got some more originals.
So what'd you get? What kind of grade did you get for that composition?
I got a better grade than I deserved, to be completely honest. But I got an A on the final. I got a B in the class, and honestly, it's pretty crazy that now, from where it started to now, it's a recorded song. It started as just me trying to pass a class, and now it turns into being number 2 on the album that we did. It's so cool.
And is your professor in the liner notes?
Oh yeah, he's actually playing piano on there too. So if you guys want to get a copy of the album, everything's in there, and I think that's why we're up for liner notes this year for the Hokus.
Yeah, well, thanks again so much for sharing your story. Great to catch up with you. And
Steve, you the man. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Love ya.
Buy the album, people. Buy the album. Thanks.